Hello, my name is Yohanan Ben Zion, the voice crying out in the wilderness, prophesying of a technological New Jerusalem, and this is a techno-communism conversation. Yesterday I did a show, I guess we would say this is a companion piece to it, and I talked in a roundabout way about one aspect of the Proxy Hive mind, the most central aspect, perhaps, building it to a minimum viable number of users, and implied therein is building it into a self-improving system. This is in the context of talking with someone from a larger organization, a well-heeled organization, who I was not inclined to work with on the basis of collaborating with that organization. But I've come to learn that this person is interested in consulting and in a private capacity, so I'm still considering it. If this person watches the video that I made yesterday in response to this, then I will assume that they have the requisite understanding to continue the conversation. The minimal necessaries for building a Proto AI agentic class workforce, as I described. Another early function of such a Proxy Hive mind would be writing the Book of Names, which is an accounting of all human beings living and a ranking of their complicity in capitalism's climate apocalypse, in the hopes of stopping this apocalypse and convincing them not to continue to contribute to it, those worst offenders. Or, after 2029, if humanity is to cook in an oven, as the climate scientists say is the case, and the Book of Names serve a different function, retribution, against those who have sinned against humankind. The building of such a thing, a list of 8 million names, and ranking them. Most people are very low on the list, and so one could say that using resources available from public records, or with a little bit deeper dive there, things like Forbes magazine, more exhaustive Forbes magazine's listings than the ones you're probably familiar with, or more exhaustive such listings from Bloomberg. You could already list these approximately 30,000 arch criminals who are causing the extinction of our species or death of billions. As I have said before, the United States military-industrial complex is the world's worst polluter. It is worse than that because it is also the champion and protector of extreme violence of all other super polluters, which has created a global regime of super pollution from which humankind cannot escape. If humankind is to survive without a multi-billion person loss of life or total extinction, we must destroy the United States military-industrial complex. It's not really negotiable. Furthermore, we must dramatically transform other sectors into sustainable things, not merely greenwashed as they are today, which requires more or less the total removal of all fossil fuel related sectors, short of causing a massive supply chain collapse. And a similar approach to animal products in the Western world, which are not produced in the ancestral way, but are the product of abominations, factory farms, which are, by certain estimations, 51% of the contribution to capitalism's climate apocalypse. If you would defend such systems, you are a capitalist pig, no different than these 30,000 people who need to be either convinced to change their evil ways or dispatched with. And this book of names, it's not that difficult to write. There are multi-billion person social networks, so this is a simpler matter. But as I said, the basic work has already been done. It's not really that hard to figure out who the archfiends of this fascist Western world are, and a few of them probably fly under the radar at this point, but not so many. It's not the easiest thing to do when you're operating at that level. Well, I'll talk a little bit about the building of this network itself, as that is was something I hoped to speak about at a little greater length yesterday. I hope that the person who has approached me in this roundabout way will watch this video as well. Consider that they are on the wrong side of history at present, and leave the organization. That would be the best case scenario for them. It's not a foregone conclusion that things like retribution or a revolution of the most typical kind need occur here. There have been situations, such as in Hungary, where the bourgeois of that country abdicated and gave over control to scientific socialists. It's not entirely unheard of. It's a different set of pressures at that time than there is today, but that could change quite quickly. I should hope that within the next 5 years, events of this kind will occur. But there's never been an imperium quite like the fascist United States. And while not impossible to imagine, it's hard, damned hard to imagine any way around the need for open warfare. But I was going to talk a little bit about new technology here, because there was some interesting developments in the world of open source technology. The large language model that I'm most familiar with in these contexts has made some steps forward towards artificial general intelligence as another significant competitor. I'm talking about Llama 3.1 in conjunction with other developments is, in certain people's estimation, artificially generally intelligent now. And I don't know how interesting really it is to talk about artificial general intelligence as an achievement in and of itself, except to build a thing that would lead to a humane and sustainable world, a thing which cannot be built without fighting for a humane and sustainable economic system. I have not met computer scientists in great number, let's say 1 in 10,000, or technophiles in great number, also 1 in 10,000, who are willing to fight in that way, who are anything other than bourgeois, part of the big bourgeois, part of the bourgeois structures, or bootlicking dogs for the bourgeois. That's most of them. Most of them don't have any money or don't own means of production. Just a bunch of idiots, really, transhumanists and such. I mean, you've met some stupid people in your life, I'm sure, but I don't think you've probably met people as stupid as transhumanists. They have largely the defining feature of such people is an incoherent worldview, defined by an interest in the bodily transformation of human beings into another thing, into a longer-lived thing, and a preoccupation with computer science and emerging technology of other kinds. But that translates to very, very little in the way of a coherent ideology, because nearly all of these people is more beholden to that thing that's killing the planet, the military-industrial abomination of the West, than to their own species. And well, I won't get into talking too much about Mistral. I'll say that's another show. But it is pretty impressive when you look at the numbers for what some of these llama variants within the context of bad companies. Twitter in conjunction with Meta, who are two of the worst companies in existence at present. But nevertheless, they have open source undertakings that they are pushing forward, and some of those things are quite nearly approximating a thing which, for practical purposes, could be the artificially generally intelligent thing that could build the super intelligent proxy hive mind. I have no reason to believe that this proxy hive mind workforce multiplier that I've described on many shows could not be built tomorrow, based on the state of these open source large language models and the distribution of the technology and conditions of other kinds that I have described. People like Facebook, Meta, Google, other basically military contractors, they would not be offering you technology of any kind at all, except that they have to remain competitive in a technological world. That's been what I have described as a driver for the attacks on Chile's CyberSyn technological planned economy in 1973, and a little more speculative, but also the reason that I believe that USSR was sabotaged at the time that it was, to see that these most powerful tools in history, revolutionary tools in history, advanced computing, remain more or less under the total control of the militaristic and fascistic U.S. and West, serving financial capital exclusively to the detriment of human beings and the livability of our planet. It's not a situation that can continue. On the last show, I talked about how even people who have not come to this realization yet, or are on the fence about maybe developing this more coherent ideology, still certainly must implicitly recognize that they are about to be leapfrogged by people who are not so beholden to empire and financial capital. Almost any country in the world could build this proxy hive mind. Anyone with more than a few thousand computers in their country, which is everyone, could begin building this proxy hive mind, a thing that could, when grown to a certain size, say 1 million users, could challenge and must challenge these ecocidal empires. Well, I'll leave you with these words that I often repeat. The artificial intelligence singularity is nigh, and wonders to behold beyond imagining. And on that fateful day you will rise, and all humankind will become as one, for techno-communism will win.